Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by. And what's up, Erin?
Hey, it's so good to be here, Frenchie.
Woo! I like that old school. Thank you. I like that. And we're going to be hanging out for like a half an hour, basically going to be talking about ways to, help an entrepreneur, maybe a real estate investor. I know you have some unique solutions for some for some people out there. And so we're going to chat about it for a half an hour and hopefully add some value.
Let's do it.
Woo! Erin, first, no, actually, who am I? Let's talk about me for a second. Kenneth French with vastsolutionsgroup.com. We're talking here. A lot of viewers, a lot of listeners. We're talking on the Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. So, Erin, you got to tell us a little bit about your background because it's totally unique. I should be calling you Doc, by the way. But anyway, go ahead.
It's okay. So, started off, I've got 5 kids. Yes, 5 kids. If you want one of them, they are free today. But what Kenner is alluding to, I started off as a doctor of chiropractic in Southern California, Huntington Beach to be exact. I had 2 practices, 30 employees. I mean, headaches. No, really. And I transitioned as I was in practice, got started in the single family real estate space. Within 2 years, I had acquired 26 rental properties. And so I got a taste of that mailbox money that all of us love so much being in the real estate space. And from there, I found out that holy smokes, that you don't have to be a billionaire to invest and purchase multifamily properties. And so went on to the multifamily space and sold my practices. And I am a full-time real estate investor since 2017. Pretty wild.
How long did it take for you to make the move and then sell your practice?
Okay, so I sold my practice. Okay, I moved in 2017 from California to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I was the director of my practice until 2019 and sold in 2019. So 2017 to 19, check this out. That was my 2-year window of getting educated, equipped about the multifamily space. I paid for that crazy astronomical amount that one pays to get educated and to have a mentorship program, because I knew that if I was going to go full time in this space, that I could not have 1 foot in and 1 foot out being in practice. I had to like make the jump. And so it took me 2 years to really get super educated and be able to feel confident about having other investors and taking their money to go make, have their money make babies per se. I wanted to make sure that I was completely educated before I made that big jump. And so it was 2 years. And so 2019 is when I bought my first apartment building, 104 unit.
Dude, that story is amazing. But I know your personality. You're an amazing lady. There's no doubt about that. But I remember when you first start, like really, really making that leap. But I don't think most people are like you. But let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, because that's really is an amazing move. Like, what are some kind of pitfalls that you found that you had to overcome to your success? Because obviously you're way successful now as a real estate investor.
Listen, here's one thing about me. I will get real and raw because listen, there's all these rainbows and butterflies that people see on social media. They see all the massive moves I've made as I've been going and climbing the ladder in the real estate space. But let's be honest, there's absolutely pitfalls and things that happen along the way. And there's some that they'd go hide in a closet after having something really bad happen and they wouldn't come out, or they throw in the towel. And yeah, I complained, I cried, and had things that happened along the way. But I tell you, I was one that would put on my big girl pants and like jump back up and get back in the game, because listen, the only person you're hurting if you give up when you go through a hard time is yourself, but not even just yourself, your family and your children's children, right? And so when I started to think like that, I was like, get over yourself. Let's go already. So it depends on where you want to take it. I got many hardships that I've gone through in this space as I've navigated along the way.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, okay, then let's talk about one example, one I'm thinking one for you, but what's one example that you had to overcome, you did, and now you're much better as a result of it?
My gosh. Well, I think probably the biggest thing, right? I have things that happened in the family space or the single family space
Mm.
that we can have for another conversation. But I think probably the biggest thing is my first deal that I took down. My first deal that I took down in the multifamily space was a 100+ unit. And I'll try and sum it up. It is a little bit longer story. Look, Frenchie's already thinking of another story that he's got, but that's okay. I'm just going to go here and we'll touch on this one. So this was in the multifamily space. I had purchased my first apartment building, and imagine just for a moment closing on this 100+ unit, and I go to check the bank account, and there we have $35,000 missing from the bank account. And there's only two people on the bank account, myself and this other, it was a husband and wife. And long story short, when I inquired, she said, well, my husband's a broker and he should have got paid for finding the deal. And of course, it was in the contract that the buyer's agent gets zero in commissions. And so that was kind of a really uh, eye-opening, tough moment because granted, it was only 35,000, some would say, but it wasn't even about that. It was the principle of working with somebody that's dishonest and that would go to that level. So of course I had to hire attorneys and get them off. And it was just a really, really tough season. And here's what I'll tell you. There was something that I learned from that experience. It was painful. And I'm not even giving you the full detail, but or should I give a little more juice, Frenchie?
Juice on it. Yeah, dude, this is your floor, man.
All right, so check it. So not only did the $35,000 go missing, but they were really upset that I hired an attorney and got them removed from being managing partners on this apartment building. So what did they do? They went to the next level and they had forged a document that said, I, Erin Hudson, will pay you $150,000 for finding this property after it closes. And they forged my signature. So what did I have to do? I had to go get another attorney to go fight the fight. And they had taken my signature from the purchase contract and transposed it onto this document. So it was one thing after another. And that's a great example of it being 3 years of living hell with this couple because all they kept doing was trying to throw salt in my wound. And the next thing they did was put a lien on the property and it goes on and on. And so with that being said, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get really, really raw with you about this. You have to imagine for a moment, there had to be some self-reflection. Like, how could you partner with these folks that are so not your kind of people? And so I want you to hear this to all the listeners out there. I was so excited about taking down my first deal that I let things slip that I never would have. What do I mean by that? It starts with going to dinner and breaking bread with this couple. And at one point, I noticed that the husband wasn't very courteous to the waitress. And guess what? Out of excitement, I dismissed it. But then hold on. Number two, there was a little altercation between the husband and the wife, and he started to raise his voice at his wife. And what did I do? I dismissed it. Y'all, those are called red flags. Yeah. And I will tell you, it was the hardest lesson learned out of excitement about taking down my first deal. And I should have never allowed that to happen. And so, yes, it was a tough lesson learned, but let me tell you something. Today, I have there's 5 partners in our firm, and they are the greatest people I could have ever linked arms with. And I met them through a philanthropic event. And it's been 5 years together. And my goodness, we've purchased over 30 apartment buildings together, own 2,000 doors, and take care of over 2,000 families. And so, my gosh, you can tell I'm a little bit passionate, but I did have to jump through hoops that were very difficult.
That's pretty cool. I like that story. And you're the type of person who's going to overcome. I know you well enough. I've known you for a while now. So wait a minute. So let's just touch base about, you're in the multifamily space, apartments, etc. Why did you choose that? I mean, because there's got to be a reason, and I'm assuming rates of return, et cetera, et cetera. Why did you choose that?
That's such a great question. Let me tell you, I first started in that single family space as I was talking about. Mm-hmm. And when in the single family space, yes, we had 26 single family rental properties. But here was the problem. When a tenant moved out, what did you have to go do? You had to go repaint the whole house. You had to go replace the flooring and et cetera, right? So imagine for a moment if you in the multifamily space, it was a numbers game. And for those that are looking to go into the multifamily space, it's not a one-man show. The single family space is a one-man show. You just wear a lot of ball caps. You're finding the house, you're finding the money, you're finding the tenant, you're et cetera, right? But check this out. There's something beautiful that happens in the multifamily space. With 5 partners on our team, everybody has their greatest strength. And imagine if you get to stay in the flow state where you most efficiently flow, right? And so for myself, I'm a people person. And what do? I raise millions and millions of dollars for all of our deals. And so for me, there's no place I'd rather be than talking with people and financially strategizing on what their future looks like and the game plan that they can put together to hit those metrics and those numbers that they want for their financial freedom, right? So I love it. And I could be anywhere. Frenchie, I could be at the beach. As you know, we've talked before, in the swimsuit, doing business on the phone. And I don't have to be locked down at a 9-to-5 job. And the last thing I'll say is, imagine for a moment, here I am, a mama of 5. My kids are at home. They hear their mom in the office talking shop all day long. And if we get real, where does money come from? It comes from people, right? So you best know how to communicate and work with people. And my children get to hear me on the daily, having conversations, putting out fires, honoring and respecting individuals, being solution driven, all those things. They get to witness that. And I hope that they embody just a little bit of it and learn how to be a mighty, mighty entrepreneur.
Yeah, who knows? You want them in the business if they want to go in the business, probably, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
I know,
And
I
believe
totally.
me, we've already done that with the kids. We can kind of touch on that too.
Yeah, what? Go for it. Let's. This is open ended, man. Anything we can do to add value to people and be fun, let's go for it.
I feel like I'm doing too much talking, Frenchie. So just cut me
It's
off.
all good, man. It's all good. You're fun. You are fun. There's no doubt about that.
You're so sweet. Well, listen, I think that it started with my daughter at 16. You know, I started in the single family space, and my daughter at 16 had money in her Roth IRA, and she actually bought her first home. Of course, I gave it to her at an extreme discount, and we had it put in her Roth IRA because I didn't want her, like, when the rent money comes in, where does it go? It goes to your Roth IRA. I didn't want it going into her bank account because what happens with teenage kids, they spend everything that they make, right? So it started with my 16-year-old doing that. And then, of course, when my next child hit 14, he was saying, "Hey, mom, what is it? I want to get in the space. And I don't want to have to wait till I'm 16." And so at my 15 and 14-year-old, we have a shipping container tiny home company. We build, we sell, and we deliver shipping container tiny homes. And so, of course, my kids have their own shipping container Airbnb tiny homes. And so they manage those. And every quarter, they got to bring us their spreadsheet, and we go through those metrics and those numbers together. And a portion goes to them and a portion goes to mama for funding the whole entire deal, right?
I
So,
think you got to give it more to the kid, by the way. But anyway, go for it.
yeah, so that's really how it started. And so check it, that daughter of mine that bought her first single family house at 16, 4 years later, doubled the value of it, sold the house, jumped into the multifamily space, and now she's an apartment investor and is now 24 years old, right? So, and then those kids that started at 14 and 15 with their own shipping containers are now 19 and 17. And the 19-year-old has now started his own trucking company, and he is actually head up. I made him the front, the face, and all of it of the shipping container sales company, which is called Live Uncontained. So,
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Nice.
yeah, so it's super fun. There's nothing more delightful than being able to get your kids in the game. And the lowest hanging fruit has really been this shipping container space right now, and helping other moms and dads to get their kids in the game too.
Yeah, let's
So
talk about that in a minute. So you brought something up, which is really big. A lot of people, believe it or not, do not realize you can invest in your IRA or your Roth IRA, or even a Roth 401k, by the way. So let's talk about that a little bit, because, you know, a lot of our clients at vastsolutionsgroup.com are kind of moving that direction, because if you put money into let's say a Roth IRA, it grows tax-free. You pull the money out tax-free. That's a good spot sometimes to put, you know, an asset. So
yeah.
it sounds like you did that for your son. And this, sorry, you said for your daughter. So why don't we talk a little bit about that? So
Yeah.
what are the reasons you did that? Although I've probably made note of a couple of, but what are some other reasons you decided to put assets in a Roth IRA and then put it in real estate?
Well, I think first things first, there's a time and a place for a Roth IRA, right? It may not work for everyone. I
Mhm.
have since blown up the Roth IRA for her and for personal reasons, which we can touch on that too. But I do think it's a pretty incredible tool. When I first got started in 2014, I was terrified to get into the real estate space. I didn't know enough about it. But guess what? I did open up my Roth IRA and I used that to lend to other people for their real estate deals.
By the
And
way, a
that
lot of people don't know you can do that.
awesome.
You can do that as well.
That was awesome. So I would lend my money from my Roth IRA, and what backed it was the real estate. And I actually had something go really crappy there too. And I ended up taking over the house because they couldn't, anyways,
Oh,
it doesn't matter. It's a longer story, but basically the city called them out and they hadn't gotten it completed in a timely manner. And so they lost their shorts on it. And I ended up taking over the property. But I had really great experiences before on the other times that I had done it. Here's the thing, you can't win every game that you play, right? You have to be willing to take some little hits and bumps and bruises along the way. And that's what gives you thicker skin to continue to play in the space and level up. But if you weenie out and you throw in the towel, then it's so much more lost opportunity, right? So it's a long-term game for sure.
well, hold on a second. Let's talk about that. What you're saying is loan to own. You don't want to be a loan to owner. So in your Roth IRA, as an example, you were loaning out, or people, just so you guys know, you can totally do this. It's totally legal, ethical, moral. You can loan out let's say you have $100,000 in your Roth IRA. Someone needs that. I'm just pretending. By the way, talk to your CPA or financial advisor just in case. This is just for entertainment purposes. But you put out $100,000. That person says, "Oh, okay, here, I'm gonna, you know, pay you whatever 15% interest rate against, let's say, a home as an example, and you could, collateralize the home." Now, if all of a sudden they don't make payments on it, sometimes what you
Yeah.
can do, because you're the Roth owner in this example, Roth IRA owner in this example, you can take back the house. Now, what you're talking about is there's a downside to that ethically, maybe as an example, but then again, for whatever reason, it sounds like this person lost the house. Just so people know, that is a possibility. It's a possibility in Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, 401ks, defined benefit plans, profit sharing plans. The nice thing is you get a certain rate of return. Hopefully the borrower will be able to continue to make their payments, but sometimes that doesn't occur. And then obviously you end up owning the property, which you feel bad about because, obviously you don't want
Yeah,
to end up taking the property.
correct.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, business is business, right? And
Yeah.
so that's unfortunate what we had to do, but
I like that you feel bad about that though, because I mean,
I
it
do.
is business, but you're taking someone's home, but then again, they didn't fulfill their part of the bargain. So I get that.
Listen, you know what? Here's the thing. You have to do to them what you would want someone to do for you.
Yeah.
So I gave plenty ample of chances for it to be made right. And
Yes, yeah.
unfortunately we didn't hit it. Okay. So that's really
Yep. And now hopefully people know that is possibly out there. So, okay, obviously, you met up with the Quattro, I'll call it the Quattro Group, your company. So tell me a little bit about that company, what makes you guys different, and add some value to the people who want to invest in maybe your deal or in other
sure.
syndicates, or who want to start multifamily investing.
Right. So I'll try and shore this story up. It's a pretty mighty one. I shared with you my first example of how things went really sideways with that first partnership.
Hmm.
And after that happened, I really thought, you know what? I'm going back to single family rental properties. I'm going to go back possibly to practice because I can't deal with people if they're not honest and they don't have integrity and they don't have their head on their shoulders. I don't want anything to do with dishonest people. And I will never forget what unfolded. It was 3 weeks later. I went to my mentorship. They had a conference that they put on and they said, Erin, we want to pull you up. We've got an award for you. And they said, we heard in our office that you did something pretty amazing, philanthropic. And I want you just to share with all of the 1,000 people that are in the audience. And they asked me, well, share with them what you did. And so I shared with them that, look, I go to different places around the world, to Belize, to Haiti, to Nicaragua, and I take my kids with me and we do take part in philanthropic causes of building orphanages, taking Christmas to kids, feeding the poor, etc. And that year, our hearts were turned towards Nicaragua and we had I wanted to celebrate after the closing of this and build the 13th home for the single mamas living in the trash dump. And so I shared that we do this, and I shared with the audience that, look, if you ever get a chance to serve someone that has far less than you do, your heart will never be the same. And here I am on stage, Frenchie, and I start crying and I have tears coming down my eyes and I get this stirring in my belly and I couldn't kick it. And I said, as a matter of fact, I'd love to build 2 more homes if I can get 2 people to match me. And the room went dead silent. And I remember thinking, what in the hell did I just do? I'm here at this multifamily event, and now I'm asking people to give and play a part in this philanthropic cause. And I'll never forget, the most radical thing happened. This gentleman, it felt like it was 10 minutes. It was probably a minute. And all of a sudden, this gentleman in the back of the room jumps to his feet and he says, I'm in for $5,500. And this woman stands to her feet in the front row and she says, I'm in for $5,500 to build a home. And within 10 minutes, I had raised $55,000.
No way. I heard about that. I didn't know it was that much. Nice.
Yeah. And so anyways, long story short, I went to my hotel room that night and I'm like, God, Lord, why did you put that on my heart? I could have got dejected off the stage. And as clear as day as night, he says, those that rise to the occasion to pour in such a great a cause as this are exactly the caliber of people that you need to link arms with. Why is that important? Because guess what? Literally 5 months later, all of a sudden, these partners come together. Quattro Capital is birthed. And guess who the partners are? The fire starter that was in the back of the room.
No way.
Maurice Philogene. My partner in the front, the lady in the front row that rose to her feet is Kim Wenlin, my partner today. So that is why it's important to work with a dynamic class act, top notch, that wants to sow goodness into the world. And that is why within 4 years, we've been able to fly like eagles and taking down 17 apartment buildings in 2021 alone, because we have a strategic, dynamic team that is all about helping others win at the game of life.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so killer. That's a killer story. Wow. Yeah, I like that story. I didn't connect all that. Geez. All right. So obviously I know now why you're with that group, but what else makes you guys different? Because obviously you're rocking. So what makes you different?
So I think in the multifamily space, you see this a lot. What happens is teams piecemeal their team together. So every time that a apartment building is purchased, there's different teams that are piecemealed on every deal. With us, there's synergy, and it's always the 5 of us. We're all equal partners. There's not a CEO. There's not a CFO. We are all equal partners. As a matter of fact, I brought that whole team together, and I was so jaded after that first deal that I said, listen, let's all do background checks. As a matter of fact, let's all bring our own money to the table. Let's just try each other on for size and see if we even like each other. And it was the most beautiful thing. We took down 5 properties before we became Quattro Capital, and it was undeniable. There was strategy and synergy like I've never seen before. And what do I mean by that? And listeners, as I share this, I want you to just envision for yourself. You want to be with partners where their greatest strength happens to be your greatest weakness. I'll give an example here. My buddy Chad, my partner, he's an aeronautical engineer. He's a brainiac. He's a numbers guy. He's spreadsheets. You can lock him in a closet and he would flourish. I, on the other hand, would die. I've got to be out. I've got to be in, forward facing, people engaging. And so my team laughs, as a matter of fact, because, Frenchie, like I love to go to the gym. Every day I'm working out. So when I go to conferences, when I go to events, what do? The morning of the event, I got to raise my vibration. How do I do that? I go into the gym and I go work out. And so the team has this little laugh that they have about me. They're like, anytime Erin goes to the gym, people just open up her wallets and she comes back with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like I have so many investors that I've met at the gym at different events, and all of a sudden they become investors of ours. And so we all have a strength inside of us, whatever it may be. And imagine if you just got to play and stay in that lane and play full out because you loved it. You didn't procrastinate it. Think about it. When you hate something, you tend to procrastinate. But when you love it, you flow and it's easy and it's not work.
There's so many funny comments I can make in that. When you go to the gym, you bring in a lot of money. I've seen you work out a lot from the videos and just in general. It's pretty awesome, actually. You know what I mean? I mean, not only are you smart, you're beautiful. And your personality, I could see people just gravitating towards you. Here, Erin, here's $100,000. You know what I mean? Oh, totally. Now people are going to want to see you. If they're only listening to this, they're going to want to see you now.
You're funny.
You're going to like that. What?
The team is really dynamic. I just think that our team is different. They all have a heart for people and love people. There's so much crossover. We all can wear each other's ball caps. Great. We are all competent in each other's lane,
Mhm.
but there is a place where it just makes the most sense for each of us to somewhat stay. And then there's a little bit of crossover where and when it's needed. But
I
man,
get
I've
it.
got the most brilliant team. And but I'll tell you this much too, because of the crap that I had to walk through and all the mishaps that I had, not one, two, three with the same team, it makes you that much more grateful, or makes
Yeah.
me that much more grateful. When I wake up in the morning, I could cry because I feel so blessed with the team that I have, and I get the pleasure of working and flanked with and work with them side by side. Their level of gratitude is not where my level of gratitude is, because they didn't walk through those trials and tribs that I did. Right?
That means you're going to feel more blessed, and you're going to not take it for granted. You know what I mean? All right. So let's talk about the tiny houses in a moment. And I have not prepped you at all, but I know you can handle this. Okay. So our podcast guest guide is number one. Monday is Money Monday. Tuesday is Tax Tuesday. Wednesday is AI Wednesday. Thursday is Special Guest Thursday. This will probably air on a Thursday. Friday is Finance Friday. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out, and again, I have not prepped you, but I know you can handle this. I'm going to throw out, I guess, 4 different topics. First, let's go with Money Monday. What do you think? What do you think is the best way? Oh no, add some value to our listeners who are usually real estate investors, entrepreneurs. What's the most? Give me an added value element to money for Money Monday.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
listen,
tough.
I got one for you. How many of you have heard of become your own bank, or using whole life insurance? Which I know this is another thing that Frenchie does in his office, as do I. I got my insurance license in 2008. I think that every real estate investor should have a whole life policy. It's been around for hundreds of years.
Mhm.
And I'm going to tell you, guess what? Don't try to reinvent yourself and figure it out. Go copy what the wealthy have been doing for years. Who? The JP Morgans, the Chases, the Rockefellers. They are using a whole life policy to, and we'll sum it up real quick. They create this vehicle known as their family bank, and they put their money in there, and then they pull it right back out a week later and put it in a more advantageous asset. So I'll give you the perfect example. I don't know, a few years back, I created another policy for myself. I put in $150,000 and I pulled $100,000 out a week later, and I went and put it in our 240 unit apartment building. Why? Because you can earn 3 to 4% in your whole life policy. I know it's not that exciting, but imagine there, if you can take your 3%, then you go put it in an apartment building for 20% a year. That's 23%.
Mhm.
Yes, there's a cost, but guess what? Your cost is even less than what Wells Fargo and Chase is going to charge you. So let's just say it's 5% on your cost. If you're following and doing math, 23 minus 5 is what? 17%. And it comes with a whole trough of added value over and beyond. And Frenchie, you might have to pay me for that one. There you go. I
I'm
hope you get clients with that.
I'm impressed. A lot of people don't know about that. That's a great way to, be your own bank, as an example. Nelson Nash, as an example, popularized that, whatever you want to call it, infinity investing, whatever you want to call it. It makes a lot of sense. For at least some people should at least look at it. If maybe they're not interested for whatever reason, they should at least look at it as a possibility for creating wealth, because I think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of cases.
I think it does, but also think about it this way. If you're a real estate investor, your family bank and investing in real estate fits like a hand in a glove. So many of my investors are actually creating their policy and then using that and then investing. So you need to look into it and definitely consider, because it is a powerful, powerful tool that has mass amount of benefits.
Yep.
So
Would you rather go to a bank or yourself for money? Okay, Tuesday, Tax Tuesday. Give us a little tip that would add value to entrepreneurs, real estate investors with respect to
yeah,
Tax Tuesday.
awesome. I love that you're like fire drill. Let's go. Okay, Tax Tuesday. If you're making good money in the real estate space, there is no better thing to do than getting your children on payroll and have a portion of your income go to your children. Why? Because you're going to pay for, hold on. God, I feel like I get on my soapbox for this one.
Nice. Yeah.
What do your kids do? Let's talk about it real quick. Your kids go to college. Your kids got to have play money. They got to get new clothes for school and all the things that kids need, right? DoorDash and etc. So have them come and be a paper pusher, or really make them do some work in your office and then put them on your payroll. Why? Because that will decrease your income, right? You'll have more expenses, and then the less income you have, the less in taxes you're going to pay. And if you're really a true real estate investor, you're paying little to no taxes. And if that's not the case, you and I need to talk,
That's
like
exactly
real.
right. Yeah, yeah, you're totally right. It's called income shifting. That's exactly right. Move
Yeah.
income from some high wage earner, let's say you, as an example, and shift it to their son or daughter, as an example, usually a low wage earner. Therefore, the tax implications will far outweigh if you don't do that. Plus, by the way, now with kids, they can be so technical, they could probably do some of your computer stuff and their AI stuff without a doubt, or be a model or take
I
pictures for your website,
well,
whatever the case is. Love it. Love it. Dude, you're perfect for this. And this just came into my brain. I've never even done this before. Okay, let's talk. Wednesday is AI Wednesday. I don't even know if you're doing AI, but if not, if you need
okay.
some help, I can help you on that. So are you guys doing any AI that can add value?
You think I'm not using AI? You said,
Okay.
okay, I do want to find out what you've got though in the AI realm. Listen, mine is not that exciting, but Chat GPT, I freaking love it. I create posts every single day. I'm on social media, 5 days a week. I'm on social media. Why? Because if they don't know you, they can't flow you. So I got to be top of mind and present. And so what do? Usually I'll craft up whatever I'm going to say. I put it through Chat GPT. And if I want it to have a twist more towards medical doctors, then I'll say, hey, take this post and craft it to more medical doctors. Or, hey, take this post and I want to make it so that people can come and talk to me about creating their own family bank. And so Chat GPT's been absolutely awesome for that.
Nice. Yeah, I was talking about that back in November of 22, and it's a no-brainer to use that. And we, as I think we started using AI back in 2010. We really employed it in 2018 with our model called Einstein. And with if people aren't using AI, they're going to be left behind. Maybe they're not going to lose their job to AI, but they'll lose their job to someone who's using AI. So what I would say is, any people who are watching or listening out there, at least give it a shot. We have a guy internally, we're not really renting him out, if you will, but he sets up our AI models for us, and he puts together our business automations. And that has freed us up so much to do other stuff. So it's worth it to go down the AI path. So Thursday is Special Guest Thursday. So I got an idea. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit more personal, a little bit, help us to understand Erin a little bit more in a couple of minutes.
Wait, so we didn't ever do the Thursday.
That is Thursday. Then Friday is Finance Friday. So right now we're on Thursday.
Okay, so what do you want to know? I feel like I could go in so many different tangents. Like, can you give me a prompt?
No problem. Tell me how fulfilled you felt as a result of being involved in real estate versus owning your own practice. I'm going to take you a little bit deeper. Does that make sense? Because I remember you were way deep in that practice. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now you're fulfilled. I got to assume. So take us a little deeper than you would normally go.
Sure. No, absolutely. So in practice, here's the thing. I was one of those that was addicted to work in my practice. I ate work, I drank work, I slept with work. And truly, when you're in practice and you have 30 employees, you have to make sure all those mouths are fed before you get to bring home the bacon to yourself. And then in addition, being a doctor, I was taxed at a very high rate. So when you start factoring that you're having to give Uncle Sam 50 cents of every dollar that you bring in, because you're not smart enough yet, you haven't figured out what y'all are doing in the real estate space. That didn't happen until I was 26 years old, or something around there, with investing in real estate. And so I was really getting hit from a tax side. Not only that, let's really think about it. I've got 5 kids here. What is the likelihood of my children becoming doctors? Minute.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of me learning about real estate and being able to make money while I sleep and have my money make babies and be able to learn how to take my seed money and duplicate the out of it, that turned me on. There was something about that I knew, come hell or high water, I could pass that on to my children with no problem. And I knew it was going to take time. And it was going to be one of those, if I learned the craft, that it would pay for infinity and beyond. And so it's done just that. There is no better way. Even being a doctor for 13 years, my net worth was good, but it became really good when I got in the single family space. Why? Because I'm a little bit crazy, but I acquired 26 rental properties in 2 years. That's got to tell you that I got a little bit strategic. What did I do with that? I would buy 3, increase the price on 2, keep 1 for free. Right? I'd bring the price of the 2 up to the amount I paid for the 3.
Yep.
And then I would rinse and repeat that all over again. That was fun. But then I really found out that the billionaires were birthed through owning multifamily properties.
Yeah,
And that
multifamily.
really was super appealing. And I knew that I could teach my children how to do just that. And that was enough to inspire me to make the big jump.
Yeah, there's a multifamily. Nice. That was you're the perfect one for me to ask this round of questions. Okay, Finance Friday. So throw out an idea that can add value as far as Finance Friday. Maybe. Oh, how about how you finance your properties, your multifamily?
How to finance them? That's kind of boring.
I know it is. I guess maybe it's a leading question because we finance commercial properties, but so I guess that's too boring actually. But it's nice to me because we love financing properties because so many people are struggling out there. No, I'm gonna make this hard. It's not boring. So wait a minute, it's hard. Some people are finding it hard to finance properties. So you can't say it's too boring. So give me some a little tidbit there.
Yeah. So let's just see. Like, shoot, interest rates were really good a couple years back for everybody. Everybody was winning. And as a matter of fact, even in the multifamily space, you didn't have to be super, super good at your craft. You just had to buy 5.5 years ago, 6 years ago, and you had the tailwind and the interest rates were low enough. Well, with everything that happened in the mortgage space and with inflation and all the things that are going on right now in our world, man, it's really taken some people through the ringer. You couldn't just buy at the right time and you're good. As a matter of fact, if you bought in the last 2.5, 3 years, those are the people that are struggling and having the hardest time because most of them bought with bridge financing. And so their rates were fluctuating. And so with that being said, with the rates fluctuating, there also became a problem. The banks were not giving those CapEx budgets. And if the banks aren't giving the budgets, how in the world can an operator go in and plan to put $15,000 or $20,000 in an apartment building or in a unit to get a $300 rent bump if they can't get the money from the bank unlocked? Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by that? Because so many people don't understand this. For example, I'm just going to give random numbers. The last property we bought was a $38 million deal. And we had I think it was a $6 million CapEx budget. So if we go in and we do $2 million of renovations, then we go take the invoice to the bank and we say, hey, listen, we need this $2 million paid out of our escrow funds that you have that you already agreed to give us. And all of a sudden, not with this particular property, but with one of our others, they went completely silent. Mm-hmm. You would think that a bank was on your side and was one of your biggest assets and allies. That was not the case. They went silent and at one point said that we hadn't met their covenants, which was bull. But then think about it this way. We can go get our own attorneys, which we talked to an attorney, but guess what? We're going to have to go up against the big dogs with their attorney. So is it really worth it getting lost in the sauce, or is it better for us to become solution driven? Well, I'm going to tell you, it was the latter. So what did we do? We went and created a fund, and the fund was a $10 million fund that was literally a replacement fund. It was a fund where we give the investors, it's a 10% guaranteed return minimum. And then the more you put in, the better the return gets for you. But that money was to come in and take out what the bank was supposed to give us. And so we were replacing those costs. We did not increase the debt load on the multifamily property, but most of our colleagues were increasing the debt loads on the properties, putting them at a serious strain where they couldn't even take care and pay the mortgage because the interest rates had climbed up. They couldn't do the renovations because they couldn't get the money from the banks, right? They couldn't get the rent bumps. So now they're in a really bad position. So a lot of colleagues right now are in the middle of giving back properties to their banks. Yeah. What makes us different? And you had asked that, Frenchie, earlier. What makes you guys different? We're forward thinking. We're not going to sit there and do what a lot of people did where they sat on their laurels and said, oh, I hope the bank starts to give us money and I hope things start to open back up. No, we created our debt fund. And I think the biggest clincher on it is this. You know what, you're working with the right people when they want to make forward movement at the expense of making sure that their investors' well-being are well taken care of, as well as the property. The health of the property is in good standing. So when we created our fund, guess what? Most fund managers are making between 2 and 5% as an asset fund manager. Okay. We came in and created our fund and we did not pay ourselves a dollar. We're doing this fund not for our financial gain, but for the health of the property and to move it along so we can walk out that business plan. That's forward thinking.
That's my girl.
And that's also in the best interest of investors. And so that is, my friend, is a huge differentiator of what makes Quattro unique. We're not about slimy, greasy palms of how can we make the most money. It's about doing right by people. And as we do right by people, we win.
That's my buddy right there, Erin. Wow, nice. So we have, how about this? We have two things. Two things. Let's get to the tiny houses in just a little bit. But how does someone get a hold of you if someone wants to get a hold of you?
Fantastic. Well, as I said, you'll find me on all social media platforms, but LinkedIn, Erin Hudson, and you can also find me at www.thequattroway.com. We give away a free ebook if you want to dig in more, you want to learn more about the team and explore who we are. Listen, I gave you a tip. Make sure that when you're looking to link with other people, that you are betting on the jockey and not the horse. The horse is the property. People tend to get tantalized by the beauty of a property and the numbers that it's going to push out, or that people say it's going to push out. But where you should be betting on, or what you should be betting on, is the jockey, the operators. They're the ones that are going to control the asset and see the success all the way through and across the finish line. So bet on the jockey.
Beautiful.
But there you'll find, sorry, go ahead.
Beautiful work. So wait a minute, you said Erin at LinkedIn. Why don't we spell your name so people who want to find you via LinkedIn can find you?
Yeah, Erin Hudson, Erin Hudson, Hudson, and you'll find me on Facebook and Instagram there too. I might just inspire you a little bit with all talks of family, life, kids, exercise, multifamily, tiny home investing, debt partners. We do a lot of different things, and that's what makes life so much fun. And I think the way that it is possible, let me drop one more thing that I'm going to share.
Please.
Everybody always asks, Erin, how in the world do you have 6 different companies? Like, how do you, like, I get it, you got a lot of energy, but how in the world do you have 6 different companies? There's this incredible book out there. It's called Who Not How. And Dan Sullivan is the author.
Oh,
and what
I should have it. I have all his books. Oh, can I?
Yeah, he's great. The premise of all of that is putting aces in their places that can help you get to your goal and to where you want to go. And so I may be the face of a lot of companies of mine, but guess what? I hire people, like my mom is in the insurance space with me. I am the face. She does all the back end. My son, he's with Stand Contained. That's our shipping container company that we build. I'm the face. He does all the back end work. We have a couple shipping container tiny home retreats. I brought all my neighbors, different neighbors for different retreats, to empower them, equip them, and let them take part. Because guess what? They were already our investors before in the multifamily space. And when you get to know people, you ask them the questions about what makes them tick. Do they want to be active? Do they want to be passive? And the ultimate goal should be to fulfill their needs. And as you do that, you get promoted in this world in mighty, mighty ways, and doors open that are unexplainable.
Mighty, mighty ways. Let's talk about mighty, mighty ways as it relates to tiny houses, because I know that's a big thing for you. Why don't we go over that? Let's take, 3 to 5 minutes, 5 minutes tops, to talk about that venture that you've done, because I think it's worth hearing for a number of people are going to want to listen about that.
Yeah. So listen, I think the cost of a mobile tiny home, there was all the buzz on it. Now I think they go for about $80,000. And we started, in 2019, we brought in 3 shipping container tiny homes, put them on our 5 acres of land where we already had this beautiful high-end Airbnb. And let's just say they took off like wildfire. Yeah. And when those took off, I thought, oh my gosh, to heck with this. I need to go bigger. I need to go put them in remote locations that are awesome, like lakefront in a cove, and buy all the wineries. And so I casted this mighty vision. I drafted it up, and then I went and, as I shared with you, put aces in their places and casted my vision to them and said, hey, can you get behind this? And so I brought incredible people who have mighty strengths that I don't have. And we now have got 2 shipping container home tiny retreats. One is at the lake, and we've got, oh my goodness, how many do we have there? 27 shipping container tiny homes, waterfront. And then we've got 14 shipping containers that are in between 2 wineries just outside of Fredericksburg, Texas. And now we're on this mighty mission to help solve the affordable housing issue. There's such a shortage. And so now I'm looking to link arms with other people that have land, and we bring in the houses and we find ways to partner up. So that's what we're doing. And I think lastly, it's the most as I said earlier, it's the lowest hanging fruit. For like $50,000, you get a 20-foot by 8-foot shipping container. They rent for $150 a night. And any parent that wants to equip their children and teach them how to make money and how to continue to have conversations with adults, because our kids are losing it, there is no better way. It's been unbelievable.
I remember we did a seminar, I think, or a quote seminar or room, I think they would call it, in Clubhouse. We had a couple hundred people there, and it seemed like a ton went to you for that. So I know there was a lot of interest. So wait a minute, you just brought up something. So you said if people have some land, it sounds like contact you, but where is that land? Can you do that anywhere, or are you only doing it in Texas as an example?
So here's the deal. If we have the right teams and we can craft up that together, I would be open to expanding outside of Texas, but Texas is really what I'm ideally looking for, but I would be open to it with the right people.
Got it. All right. So how about we have 1 minute left. What's one thing we haven't talked about that can add value in your estimation to entrepreneur or to real estate investor that we have not talked about?
Oh, let's break this. I know you said that you've got a lot of real estate investors, but there's got to be people on here that are like, man, I wish I could just get a hand up. I wish I could just get a breakthrough. I wish I could just figure it out. But unfortunately, in their head, they're saying they don't have the money, and maybe their pocketbook shows they don't have the money. But that's a head issue. And let me tell you why. There is so much money out there. And so I tell my kids, I don't ever want to hear that you don't have the money. Go figure it out. Go figure it out. And what do I mean by that? I'll tell you, when I first did the deal with Quattro Capital, I had 26 rental properties. They were all free and clear. And I thought, I'll just I had to bring $300,000 to the table for the first deal that we were purchasing in order to own 20%. I'll never forget. This was powerful. I went to bed that night, woke up in the middle of the night and went, oh my gosh, I know what I need to do. I went on Facebook. I said, how would you like to be the bank? How would you like to be the bank, make a great return, and have it backed by real estate? I'll never forget. 65 people commented, tell me how, highly interested. I want to know more. I went and I did a list and I wrote down everybody's name. And I went and circled the 6 people that were the lowest hanging fruit that I was confident knew me, liked me, and trusted me. Yep. And within 48 hours, I had locked up $300,000. So I had put their money in the deal to buy this apartment building that was cash flowing at 12% at takeover. I paid them 7%, right? I told them 20 times what the bank will pay you is what I'll pay you. And then guess what? 12 minus 7 is 5%. I was still making 5% off whose money? Their money.
Their money. Yeah.
3 years later, we refinanced it, and that property went from 2.5 million, and we sold it for 4.8 million. Talk about a freaking nice return.
That's a
right?
That's a good little tidbit. I like that.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody has a grandma, a grandpa, a dog, spot, an aunt, or an uncle that's going to take a leap of faith for them and believes in them. If you are a class act good individual, people will bet on you. They will give you money, and you don't even have to tell them what it's for. I didn't tell those people what it was for. I just said, how would you like to be the bank and make a great return? It's all about your posturing and how you carry yourself. They don't need to know what you're investing. So go find the money and go create an arbitrage. Go borrow the money from them at a certain rate and make sure that you're making at least double that with whatever you're investing in to keep your money safe. Guys, I've done this time and time and time again, and my kids watch me do it, and it's like the most incredible thing. They're always like, whoa, just like that? The person doesn't even know you. It's amazing. Right?
And I've seen it with my own eyes and what you've done. It really is incredible. So, man, this has been an unbelievable time. I threw some hard questions at you in my estimation. So what I'm going to do, I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to splice this up to maybe even 3 different episodes, because I think it's so action packed. This is the longest I've gone with anyone. And man, I totally appreciate you being here and you adding value. What you did truly did add some value to people all the way along the spectrum. Kind of newer investors all the way to experienced investors. And we have people mainly on the latter end, but you've truly added value. And it's been a pleasure having you. I really do appreciate it.
So welcome. Frenchie, I just love you from the moment I met you. Look, if you guys don't know this guy, you need to get to know him. He's brilliant as all get out, and he's strategic, but most of all, and most importantly, he works hard, but he plays hard. He's super, super fun. And at this stage of my life, I'm 46 years old. I almost said 43. I'm 46 years old, and I have to be really careful about where I put my capital. My capital is my time, and I like to spend it with top-notch individuals like Kenner French.
Oh,
So.
sweet. Thanks. And you're awesome. All right. Once again, this is Kenner French of VastSolutionsGroup.com. You've been listening and watching The Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're closing up shop now. Thank you so much, Erin, Dr. Erin, and everyone who's been here. I appreciate it, guys.
Take care.